All right. All right, all right, all right. This,
Rada, 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 rada.
this is the moment in which I, Chatfish, will be talking to you and telling you the welcome to another Bunchcast. And today we're going to be talking about the little tiny civil war that broke out over this week inside the industry. It's rather interesting, and it's all connecting back to a certain little issue in regards to censorship. And it's very interesting because you have people jumping on both sides inside the industry. But what you're actually kind of noticing is that a lot of companies are actually jumping in favor of the consumer for a change, which is nice. Basically, most companies are coming out against the censorship stuff, which is actually very good. But the first thing we're going to look at is something Fuzzy wants to talk about because he's going to have to leave before long. So, Fuzzy, go ahead, take it away.
Hey, Scrub. Yeah, this is the after Mastercard and Visa. We're just focusing on Mastercard just because they say the same thing. Is their public statement after being bombarded by calls and emails from gamers and the paying customers and possibly also companies, clarifying recent headlines on gaming content. Mastercard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure cards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. Here's the problem. That is quite literally, as itch.io and Steam have said, that is literally not what's going on. This
They
is illegal
actually got
content.
community noted.
Yeah, they got community noted if you scroll a bit down. Hold on.
Yep, it says both Steam and Itch have stated the removal of adult content came from pressure by payment processors, including MasterCard. Furthermore, MasterCard and other payment processors have a documented history of refusing service to Japanese retailers over legal adult content. Underscore
Yes.
legal adult content. Legal, not illegal. Legal, meaning that it is
And
okay.
and if you go to the next link, there are literally official guidelines on how they regulate rules with their merchants and everything. It outright states the exact, and they in practice and state in writing the exact opposite of what that community note was, of what their public statement was. They do regulate this stuff, and they use standard vague language of anything we don't like. Yes, such as if you look
Anything
into the
that's
sale
damaging to the brand.
damage into the brand. Yeah, the sale of product or service, including an image, which is apparently offensive and lacks serious artistic value. They do in technically list examples, but that is they're trying to give in quotations, oh, these are the guidelines we follow, even though if you take out the quotations and focus on the whole statement, no, it's literally what Trumba says. Anything that the corporation finds deems unacceptable to sell in connection with a mark. That is that literally is their rule to, if we don't like it, we are not going to transfer the payment, do the payment transfer or process.
It's
And
great because they don't have to have any laws. They basically just arbitrate morality rather than legislate. Well, they
yeah,
can't legislate, but you know what I mean.
it's trying to dictate the economy via the fact that you only have two options. Technically, American Express and Discovery have their own payment processors, but those are closed networks that don't even have international appeal because, well, they don't even try to compete with MasterCard and Visa. These two are essentially been in cabal and have faced a lot of antitrust lawsuits over the years, and
They always settle,
yeah,
so that way there never is a actual ruling.
yeah,
Yep.
and so this is obviously very blatant deception. If you go to the next link, the federal law,
Which one's better?
wrong one.
Boop, boop, boop.
We'll get there
There it is,
eventually. Sinead, don't
FTCA.
worry.
There we go.
There
We
is
knew
a
you could count
specific
on you,
law
Chris.
against deceptive practices under the Federal Trade Commission Act, including antitrust practices, because there's a duopoly between Visa and Mastercard. We are so heavily dominant in this, and it outright states an active practice is deceptive where a representation, omission, or practice misleads or is likely to mislead the consumer, and there's also against unfair practices where an act of practice is unfair where Well, first bullet point, causes or is likely to cause substantial injury to consumers, or as I like to phrase, the paying customer, of which saying that, hey, the two super dominant cardholders where that controlled most of the processors of legal property and money are determining that you're not allowed to purchase these things that are perfectly legal for working adults. And there's a federal law that clearly states, hey, if you outright mislead people on these things, as they clearly did, their public statement and their actions are, it's just so blatant, it's outright frustrating that they're not allowed to do this. So I wouldn't be surprised, depending on public pressure, if there's a lawsuit, which I hope it's when, it's just such a clear cut case.
Yeah.
Now,
This is one of those cases where, honestly, I think if the industry just takes collective shout to court over this, or Visa or Mastercard,
class action.
Yeah.
This would be more specific.
More
against
class
the
action.
processors.
Yep, against the processors, because the processors are the first ones. Collective shout bullying them needs
Collective
to be.
shout is just the thing that set off the bonfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because collective shout has no authority
Yeah, they're
over
just
Visa and Mastercard.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just an activist group.
Visa
That's all
and
they are.
Mastercard submitted to them as if they were some sort of form of authority. Yes.
Yes.
They're in the same cabal or cathedral, the same ideology of pushing a certain agenda on the wider public and markets. So naturally, when a tiny insignificant group, and I say that because their email campaign of collective shout, if I recall correctly, was only 1,000 emails
I'll
or
find it.
calls.
It was
Yeah.
it was close to 1,000. I don't remember the
This
exact
is why
number.
it's important that everyone engage in an active counter email campaign against them. Literally drown them out in a sea, basically.
Funny enough. Now, if you could open those two time series tables, stock charts.
Now back to
Just open the
stock
graphs.
chart. The graphs of justice.
Now, this is the 1 month. If you look at the long term, it doesn't really capture the trends in the short term.
Oops.
That's the other one, which obviously it shows us going up, but it does show it's going flat.
Yeah, because
So-
we're at this point right here, right? Because that's where we
Yeah.
are, and this is a more expanded look at that. And when you
That's
look at
the-
it at a closer,
that's a 1 month.
1 month,
That's
can
one
see
month
it
because
in-
it's July 2nd to
it's not just
31st.
really flattening; it's actually diving.
Now, from what Shumba has told me, because he also looked into this, I don't know if you want to take it over, Shumba, just so you get a piece in.
So when I was looking at the charts, basically it was interesting to see the second that they actually strong-armed Steam and Itch, their stock prices actually went up. And then once the backlash started coming in, when looking at a different view than this, that's when you immediately see it start to dive, and then it kind of, like the initial backlash, the stock prices dived, and then the backlash mellowed out a bit, and then so it went up a little bit, and then the call campaign, where people have started mass calling in to protest, you see it immediately take another massive dip, and that's where we're at now, where it's just basically on almost a
nosedive.
free for all.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's showing that. And
So-
the. Oh, go ahead.
Chat. Just to let you know, for every call you put in the Visa and Mastercard system to file a verbal complaint to a manager or higher up, is another call that Visa and Mastercard can't take, fixing whatever issue for their actual clients.
Yep. Basically, what you're doing is you're flooding the system, and now people are getting angry, and their discontent is only going to grow. So there's a backlog of problems building up as these calls keep happening, and the more of you that call, the bigger that backlog of problems will be, the more it's going to tank everything and their logistics.
From what I've been hearing in regards to people making calls now, the people who are answering the calls, if they hear anything mentioning games, either will immediately hang up on you, or throw out a slower, call you a bigot or something, and then hang up on you.
Yep. Record it.
it.
Record
Yes,
it. Record it. Record your
unironically,
conversation.
Now
Ironically,
I did
you
post.
should.
I did post
Yeah.
2 more images from Collective Shout themselves, basically celebrating their win and saying what they did.
Okay, so a 70,000 petition. Which, when you look at the backlash by gamers, it's a magnitude.
That was specifically for one game to do that.
Yeah.
That they got it pulled, and then this one they just sent an open letter.
Yep. The big thing here is that as long as the backlash continues to get louder and people continue to bombard them. And the thing is, record that, and then instead of talking about it once they hang up on you, hey, they hung up on me. I want to talk to their manager. And before they say anything, get their name.
Yeah, because
Like, get
there
their
needs to be
name.
pressure,
And then instead, next time just call in and be like, hey, I want to speak about this person. This person called me a slur. Or, like, this person did that.
No, unironically, that actually
Yeah.
is smarter because that way, it's
Because
no
now you're not
longer
calling in
about
for
the-
that. You're calling in for the fact they insulted you.
Yes.
And now
then
they can't just
during-
hang up on you because now you're
Yeah,
doing it
exactly.
that
Uh,
way.
If you want to grab the images from Collective Shot, I posted, Gibbs.
They want to play
But
this
yeah,
game. We
they're-
can play this game.
But they're trying to filter people into doing the email response thing.
Don't filter.
Don't filter.
Keep calling. Keep
Yes.
calling. Call them once.
Someone
Call them
actually
100 times a
mentioned it
day.
in
I don't
chat,
care.
Pondozan mentioned this. It also costs them money
Yes.
every time you call.
Burn their money.
That's all. Yeah, it's first of all, they can't just automatically filter it out with an email. They can set just a simple program to filter out anything related to gaming. If you call, that's a lot of labor cost.
Yep. Because one, the big thing is that you could say representative for like 5 minutes, and then sit in a waiting queue for like 30 while you're playing video games.
Yeah.
And then when somebody says hello, then you stop playing video game and you answer the thing until they want to kill themselves.
I mean,
Well, they
listen,
already do, I
you can
assume.
watch our streams, chat. You can watch our streams. You can play games with us. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can watch a movie. You have some popcorn. Just be on a waiting list and then answer and then just, do the thing. And if the person shut you down the first time, get their name first if you can before they do that. Like, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. Like, what's your, and like get their name. And then if they shut you down or hang up on you, I don't know, I'm calling because, Bill fucking hung up on me and called me like an N-word. And then like now it's a different subject because if they're shutting down the conversation about censorship, then make the conversation about the fucking horrible shit they're calling you. Change it what it's about.
Yeah, there
Just
needs to
keep
be clear
yeah.
pressure.
Oh, it's
chat-
it's also getting different departments
And then
involved,
watch
'cause
their
it's like-
money burn. And then literally you can watch our streams today and just call them. Just keep calling them. They're lonely.
Chat, I don't condone this actions. I'm just gonna let you know.
We don't. But the big thing is that you can call them if you have a complaint. And to be fair,
Yeah,
it's
a
a
legitimate complaint, chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do have a legitimate
It is
complaint.
legitimate technically.
This is legitimate.
Yeah, I guess-
There's nothing illegitimate here. The big thing is we all have a complaint. Don't call them if you don't. But the big thing is if you have the same complaint that I do, that Bucky does, that Rapier does, which is literally, hey, can you not censor these things so I can buy these things, which is a legitimate grievance, mind you, then call in. And if they fucking call you a slur, that's rude and that could hurt your feelings. So call in again and let them know that you didn't appreciate that. Chat's like, okie dokie. See, there's all sorts of things. Legitimate grievances that we
The
can
easiest
do.
one to do, chat, is just when you call in, you can complain about the rude behavior of the person you're talking to.
Which is more than fair
Because-
because it's good
yeah.
feedback. A good employee will hear your complaint. A good employee will also hear your complaint and be like, all right, I'll bring it up to them, but sadly there's nothing I can do. And then you thank them for their time, respectfully, of course, and then you let the next representative know. The next representative.
And keep going.
I heard someone saying that making an ethics complaint would be something that would get up the chain faster.
It
says
would.
That's
Daryl.
what, that's what I was getting
That's
at.
what I
Like,
was
if they
bringing up
start
the whole
to-
thing because they're
Yeah, if they
ethically
start
treating you
to
terribly.
use slurs or anything like that, that gets a different department involved.
Yes, you literally should call if they do that because literally what they're doing is literally not okay. They're
Yeah,
paid.
and if these people get fired because of it, it is also really
It's on
expensive
them.
to train and train new employees.
Well, if anyone, I genuinely hope no one gets fired over it. But the reality is that if a person is doing a bad job, then that person needs to be, disciplined, and disciplinary action needs to occur because he is not doing their job. I don't want people to lose their job, but I do want people to treat people with respect. and we have a legitimate grievance. And if they can't treat us with a modicum level of respect to hear our grievance that we have, which is more than fair, because they are violating the law, mind you, then of course we can complain about that. And of course we should make it an ethical complaint. It should go up the chain of command. Because they're not only there's a fire ongoing, but now people are mismanaging it and making it worse by calling you names, hanging up on you, and treating you like utter dog shit because they don't view you as human, and that's not okay. We are their clients. We are their customers. We deserve better treatment than that. You all deserve better treatment than that, and they know that. See, chat? You can call all you need to file all your legitimate grievances. And there's a lot of legitimate grievances to have.
Yeah, I mean, telling us, hey, we don't censor while at the same time censoring in flagrant violation of federal law and acting that these payment processors act like they own our money and by extension our property.
Yes.
That is a sincere principles complaint.
It's not.
Well, again, it's why I said earlier, they are trying to arbitrate that stuff rather than follow what the law says they're supposed to do.
Yes.
They're basically trying to sidestep it.
All of our joking aside that we do often on stream, what they are doing is they are overstepping their bounds massively. And
they've been doing it for a while.
And it's not okay. And that's why if you find yourself aggrieved in the same way we are, you should let them know so that we're vocal. Because the only way there's going to be any sort of positive change in this is if people are vocal. And as you can see, it's reflected here in the stock prices. It's nosediving, currently free fall. And that will hopefully send a clear message to be like, hey, we really don't like what you're doing. Can you change it? And they're like, okay, we want to go where the money is. All right, we fucked up. We're going to backpedal and we're going to give you what you want. And so we get what we want and it's a fair and equitable exchange. We get our degenerate bullshit that we want and they don't censor our games or whatever. And they get their money fair.
Now, one thing to pay attention is we don't know if Steam's doing this. At least I haven't found any official confirmation. There is pressure. Itch.io is actively seeking alternative payment processors.
They have claimed that, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I expect the government to step in this, but the problem is the government's slow, and I don't know how long that's going to take.
There is one. Speaking of government, if you go
there is
the
the petition that was change.org, but
there is a law that's being pushed
to
because this debating has been an issue not just in gaming but in general for a long time. This recent gaming controversy is the latest one and a very significant
it's just
one.
the newest thing because people have been saying that there is a very limited number of payment processors, and because these payment processors all think along the same lines, but you can't just go to a different processor because they have practically identical
There's no alternative
terms of service.
I want to buy a game on Steam. There's a couple of ways I can buy a game on Steam and do it safely. One, I add money to my Steam wallet, right? That's probably the best way to do it because then they can't really... Visa won't know exactly what you purchased. You just added money to your wallet. And that's the only way to get around that. Two, you just buy your game with your Visa or MasterCard. And three, you have a PayPal option, if I remember right. And that's
PayPal is
in
same thing.
And they're part, and I was going to say that they're all part of the same conglomerate. So what they will all do is they blacklist one thing because they're all in cahoots with each other. They're all working behind the scenes, and we know they are because they already have shown that they are. And so it's not a conspiracy; it's just true. It's just true.
Yeah, because let me see what their corporate headquarters are. Mastercard HQ. Because one thing you notice with a lot of these go ahead.
Before it gets off that, because I did want to just bring up again, so we have this massive campaign to go out, and their response is basically like, oh, well, it's not a big enough issue. But as was stated with the collective shout, which Kibbs never grabbed,
they don't have any power.
Well, collective
shout. Okay, good. Yeah. So they just sent. So their initial thing was to. Their first big win was to get 7,000 signatures to remove a game from Steam, and then this one, all they did was send an open letter signed by leading anti-sexploitation groups, which means
nothing.
Nothing.
It means nothing.
So they just sent a letter to these people, and they immediately went like, "Yep, okay, that's clearly what the customer wants."
They threaten. Okay, so when this is an open letter, they drop their fucking names there. This is a threat. That's what this
Yep.
It
is.
is.
It's, hey, Alex, Chris, if you don't do blank, you're a blank. I can't say that because, YouTube will strangle me to death. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
They'll try and bring financial harm, reputational harm is generally the business terms they use in this.
Yes, and so because they're going to do that, that leaves them literally no choice. Because if I was a big executive and I was completely out of touch with what was going on in the world, and I saw this, and there's this open letter from this organization that looks all official and shit, and it's like, this is against child rapists. You're against child rapists, right? I'd be like, well, of course I'm against that. That's horrible, right? But that's because this whole company, this whole organization, Collective Shout, look at this fucking website. They throw smiling children on it all over the places, images they probably stole from somewhere, that they are just using these children as a shield to actually exploit them. They are exploiting children. Even their like little logo with like this girl with a slingshot at a fucking suit person. What this is they're exploiting children. They're hiding behind children and using them as a shield to bludgeon people with.
It's literally you wouldn't say anything bad about X group, but it's the most universally, or one of the most universally protected groups, which is children.
Yeah, and it's sickening because they plaster children all over their website. And this is the same organization that defended cuties and children exploited in media.
Oh yeah, that's
Actual children
that's
being
the other
exploited.
funny thing.
Yes.
They'll say this is about protecting children, but when you look at what the people that are a part of these groups actually like, it's like, oh, you don't actually give a fuck.
That's just not okay. You can't, like, whether you're left leaning, whether you're right leaning, whether you live on the moon, I don't care. You don't use children as a shield to bludgeon people with, because it's just fucked up. Like, this organization is fucked up. They are hypocritical because they actually do abuse children, and they're going after adult content games because it's one of those things where it's like, why are they doing all these censorship things? It's because the skeletons in their closet are so scary that they have to make something up so that they are something worse than themselves.
Yeah, and why they're able to get away with this so easily is Mastercard, Visa, PayPal. A lot of these companies, their talent pools are virtually the same. They share the same talent. Now, a lot of people complain about talent poaching, but when you look at the reality is, you have these talent pool communities in the same areas that think the same. They go to the same Starbucks, they go to the same restaurants, they party at the same places, the same hangout places.
It's really just
Visa,
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley and Mastercard are elitist, woke New York financial sector.
Yep, they literally have
Those are-
dinners together. They literally go on like, hey, let's have meet for lunch or something like that. And that's where they exchange these ideas in corporate culture. And they're all
It's why they
interacting with
all
each
hit
other.
at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, and they also are well aware of these think tanks where Collective Shout, they're the ones that generate the ideas of, okay, what should we censor next? These are the ones that these pressure groups are just forefronts of, okay, these executives don't want to be the ones creating these ideas. They don't want it technically pinned on them, or for whatever reason. These activist groups are the ones that determine, okay, this is what the next push is going to be for censorship or for their whatever their ideology is, and then they pass it on to the orders onto MasterCard and Visa, like what you were just showing you right here and now.
Yep, it seems like that's how they're organizing it. And they're going in after one game after the other. Then they're clinking glasses and going like, haha, we got another one. Let's move to the next target.
Because
The next target has literally already happened. They've started forcing horror-themed games to be removed from itch, and apparently we're going to have to start targeting Steam next for those.
Yes, and this is why
Horror
it's so
game.
important to remember this, all right? So this
They
is
will always
why,
start with the most,
yeah.
which is viewed as the
Vulgar.
most indefensible types of games.
So they're starting with lewd games and hentai games and stuff like that. And here's the
because
here's the
normies don't
reality.
care for them.
If it's a hentai game and it has graphic content in it, guess what? It's fictitious. No one was hurt making it. Who gives a damn? It's a fucking piece of code. You don't have to buy it if you don't want it, if you find it gross or icky. There, problem solved. The issue is that they're going to first go for them because many people were being silent about it. And that's not good. You need to be vocal. Because if they go for them, then next game, what is the Puritan always going to go for? The Puritan wants control. And why do they want control over you? Because control gives them power over you to tell you what to do, what to think, and what to like. Puritans are on both left and right. And so that's important to identify Puritans as their own unique ideology. It's about control. And the first step in control is taking away one aspect of anything, right? In the case of Germany in the 1930s, it was taking away their guns and their hunting weapons. In the case of here, it's taking away your piece of media. Any sort of Puritan wants control over you and what you have. And you start first with something that people won't have a big issue with, right? It's just a hentai game, you know. You can go and download them legally anyways. Like, what's the big deal, you know? The thing is, the big deal is that that's not going to stop. What's the next game? It's going to be your Grand Theft Auto. It's too vulgar. It's too violent. It's going to be your Red Dead Redemption. Too vulgar, too violent. Dead Space, too gory. That's too gory. You can't have that. People could die, you know, in that piece of fake fucking media.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
there is
also-
some organized company pressure to find alternatives, mainly itch.io, if you can bring that up. That I
Which
think it's
one?
that Niche Gamer article that itch.io is actively seeking alternative payment processors. Steam should be actively doing this too. If anybody can find out an alternative payment processor, or heck, even build one from the ground up, Steam has enough FU money to at least do this in house if they want to do. This combined with GOG looking to also do organized corporate company level pressure against this censorship. Steam and GOG and itch.io. These are the biggest gaming distribution platforms. If they want to organize and actually create the alternative, they can do that. So this is something that should actively be encouraged. Of hey, companies, the business should be between you and me. These payment processors should not be telling us how we do legal business. This is another alternative that needs to be expanded upon. If you can pressure, hey, encourage Steam and GOG to continue this in an organized way.
Yeah, some sort of
Mastercard and Visa,
organized resistance, yeah.
even though they're much bigger, even though Visa and Mastercard are much bigger companies, itch.io, if these three companies want to pull resources together, the only way they can stop them is to literally start going after physical property rights, which would be highly illegal for Visa and Mastercard to do. If they were to do stuff like that, that could actually get the executives some, I'm not going to say the type of punishment, but that will approach felony level stuff, not just
I was gonna
antitrust
say,
level stuff.
bare minimum, that gets the Fed involved.
Yeah, and the Fed already has reason to get involved. Whether they do or not, wait and see, but there is
The biggest issue, and this has always been the issue, with starting a payment processor from the ground up, that shit's expensive.
Yeah, it's been artificially made expensive due to various financial regulations and also the tech involved in it.
And Grumpy Rat's been a member for 27 months. Thank you for your long-term support. He says, fuck censorship. That is all.
Yeah.
Hashtag Rapier's Choice for his Bubble Cultist membership, which is $5. Thank you for your
Yeah.
support, Grumpy. Very much echo your sentiment. But yeah, the big thing here is that you already see a pushback. So the industry's already entering a state of civil war, and it happened rapidly over this week. GOG's already started taking a stance actively against it. So GOG and game publishers launched Freedom to Buy Games to raise awareness on censorship in gaming. They're already fighting back, and the war has already begun. 13 games
And
available
I
free
have to
for
go.
48. Oh, take it easy, Fuzzy. Have a safe trip, buddy.
Fuzzy.
13 games available free for 48 hours as part of a stand for creative freedom and preservation. On August 1st, 2025, some games vanish. Not because they broke the law, but because someone decided they shouldn't exist, says GOG. As an archival platform dedicated to protecting gaming history, we believe that if a game